Welcome back to Unlocking Fertility, and I'm your host, Katherine Rowland. For those of you who are new here, hi, nice to meet you. First off, I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner who specializes in fertility. I've been practicing for over 9 years, depending on when you're listening to this podcast, and I have an over 90% success rate of helping women conceive naturally. And the reason that is not because I'm practicing magic or because I'm selling snake oil. What I'm doing is teaching you how to listen to your body and learn to really support your body. Because the truth is that your body wants to conceive, right? Biologically, your body wants to conceive, right? So what I am doing is helping you bring your body back home. And so in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you about the biggest fertility nutrition mistakes that I see women make in my practice. Now, if you want to understand an overall understanding of how to fuel your body for fertility using Chinese medicine, go back and listen to episode number 29, where I teach you what to eat to fuel your body for fertility. But today I'm going to talk about the biggest mistakes that I see women make, why they're the biggest mistakes, and what to do about it. So the number one biggest mistake I see women make in my practice when it comes to nutrition and fertility is focusing only on what they eat, but not how they eat it, right? So there's two parts to this. One, they're just focusing on the food they eat, but not how they cook it, because how you cook it matters. So I'm going to go on this a little bit more in number two, but there's an energy to food. And so when we cook our food, whether we steam it or roast it or boil it, that makes a difference. Whether we eat our food cooked, raw, or cold, that makes a difference. In Chinese medicine, I always recommend eating warm cooked foods, especially if you're trying to get pregnant. And the reason for that is that in order to conceive, in order to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy, your body needs an abundance of resources. Your body needs a lot of energy. In Chinese medicine, these resources are blood, physical blood in your body. Your body needs to be able to double in blood volume to support a growing pregnancy. Yin, which is sex hormones and thick fluids in our body, and then just qi, energy, right? Our body needs a lot of energy to literally grow another human in our body. And so the start of creating these resources in our body is our digestive system. In Chinese medicine, the energy of the spleen, pancreas, is responsible for digesting and absorbing the food that we eat and then turning that into viable resources in our body. And so cold, raw foods are harder for our body to digest. Our body's not able to fully break them down and get the nutrients from the food that we eat. And then our body's not able to create the resources it needs. Simply put, cold, raw foods weaken the energy of our spleen. The energy of our spleen is also vitally important for fertility because the energy of our spleen is an ascending energy. It holds things in place. It upholds things. So it holds our organs in place. It holds blood in place, but most importantly for fertility, it holds a fetus, it holds a baby in place. So we really want to nourish the energy of our spleen and avoid cold, raw foods. Now, the other aspect of how you eat is just how are you eating? Are you eating stressed out? Are you eating while you're rushing? Are you eating while you're watching TV? Or are you eating in a relaxed state? And this matters too for digestion. When our nervous system is activated, the last thing our body is prioritizing is digestion. Right? If we want to think about it in the terms of fight, flight, or freeze, when our nervous system is activated, it's activated so we can run away from a tiger. That's the biological reason for this response. But this fight, flight, freeze response happens at a very low grade through our body in modern day life fairly frequently. If you're doing work and you're stressed out about work and you're shoving food into your mouth, your body's in this stress state and it's not prioritizing digestion, right? If you're really angry, if you're really upset, if you're running around, again, your body's not prioritizing digestion. And when we're eating, we want our body to be prioritizing digestion. So really making sure you're slowing down, you're thoroughly chewing your food, you're taking breaths, you're breathing, and really focusing on your food versus just rushing throughout your day. So it's not just what you eat, but how you eat it that really matters. The number two biggest nutrition mistake I see women make for fertility is not understanding food energetics and not eating the food that's right for them and their body. So there's a lot of trends out there. There's so many trends. And the thing about trends is they typically are only trendy. Now, there are foods that universally I believe should be eaten for fertility and that we would say in Chinese medicine for the most part. But understanding the energy of food is where things can really get individualized. So in Chinese medicine, food isn't just macros and micros, right? Protein, carbs, fat. Food has an energy to it. And foods, they can be energetically hot, they can be energetically cooling, they can be energetically warming, they can be energetically descending, sending energy down, or they can be energetically ascending, lifting energy up. They can be consolidating. Foods can be moving or building or nourishing. There's foods that benefit different organs in our body, right? So food has energy into it. And that's when food really becomes medicine, is when we understand the energy behind it and how it can support our body. To give you a story example, I had a patient who came to me. Her tongue was so red, showing that she had so much heat in her body. She had a short luteal phase and was having trouble conceiving. Now, from her tongue, I could tell heat was a major factor in her diet and her lifestyle. And it turns out she was eating a lot of spicy food, she was eating a lot of onion and garlic, and she was drinking coffee. And all of these are what we call inflammers in Chinese medicine, foods that create heat in the body. And so all this heat was drying out her body's resources, and her body didn't have the energy to sustain her luteal phase. Obviously, there were other things going on, emotional factors too, but the diet was a big piece for this one patient. And so we cut that out. We looked at her tongue a month later, and side by side, it was completely different, right? The heat had gone out, and within 3 months, she got pregnant. So all to say, it's not just what you eat, how you eat it, but really understanding the energy of that food. Also, if you're someone that has constant diarrhea, right? That's an issue that your body's not absorbing the food. So we would focus on foods that, one, support the spleen and support your digestion, but we'd also focus on ascending foods, right? Foods that lift things up and hold things in place so that your body's not just flushing out, so your body's not just clearing out. So this is where food energetics can be really important, and using food as medicine and really making sure you're eating the right food for you and your body, right? What your neighbor or sister ate to get pregnant might not be the same thing that your body needs to get pregnant. And this brings me to number 3, is that thinking that just because this person did this to get pregnant that you can too. And I hear this a lot. One of the biggest things I tell women to do when they're struggling to conceive is stop drinking coffee. Really quickly to explain that, and I do explain this more in the food episode, I believe, but coffee depletes the energy of our kidneys, and the energy of our kidneys is our reproductive battery. So you are just draining your body's ability to get pregnant every sip of coffee you drink. That being said, coffee is also energetically hot, as I mentioned, and the reason that becomes an issue is because heat dries fluids up. And fluids are the basis that your body needs to build blood and to build yin, to build sex hormones. So we want to hydrate our body and not dehydrate our body. That being said, plenty of women drink coffee and get pregnant, right? But every person is different. Everyone has different constitutional energy. Everyone has a different diet, a different lifestyle, different stress factors, different toxins coming into their bodies, right? Every person and every body is different. So just because someone else does something doesn't mean that's going to work for you, and vice versa. The 4th mistake that I see women making is intermittent fasting. It's become really trendy and popular, and it has no place in women's health or fertility from my point of view. Like I mentioned from the beginning, in order to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy, your body needs an abundance of resources. Your body needs a lot of fuel, right? The same way a car needs gas or electricity to run, your body needs fuel to run. And food is our way of getting gas. So if you are not eating for 14 or 16 hours a day, that's a long time that you're not fueling your engine. On top of that, when we don't feed ourselves for an extended period of time, our body basically shuts down. It says, look, we're not going to be getting food, so we're just going to slow down and go into survival mode. And newsflash, babies are not created in survival mode. So intermittent fasting has no place in fertility. Also, typically intermittent fasting has to do with skipping breakfast. And in Chinese medicine, breakfast is one of the most important meals of the day. All the meals are important. I just want to say that you should not skip any meals. And I guess that's another mistake women make, is skipping meals, but especially breakfast. And it doesn't need to be a big breakfast, but just having breakfast, because the energy of our spleen is the strongest in the morning hours. So we need to eat breakfast to fuel our spleen, right? To kind of flip that switch and say, hey, let's work today, right? It's like that on switch for your body is eating breakfast. So breakfast doesn't need to be big, but it does need to be there. Relay that into mistake number 5 that I see women make, which is skipping meals. Again, your body needs fuel, and we get that fuel through food. And if you're skipping meals, you're skipping an opportunity to fuel your body. And this brings me to mistake number 6 that I see women make, which is restricting their food and focusing on weight loss, or one or the other. When you are trying to get pregnant, it is a time to really nourish your body, to build within your body. It is not it's not a time for restriction or fasting or dieting. It's a time for nourishment. And just to point to that, if your goal is weight loss, you're not going to lose weight by starving yourself either. Or if you do, it's a really unhealthy way. You're going to lose weight by really nourishing your body. Your body holds on to weight when it's depleted of resources. Like I mentioned, in Chinese medicine, yin is thick fluids in our body. So we can think of weight as a thick fluid or tissues in our body. Yin is tissues in our body also. When our body is depleted of this yin energy, it holds on to that weight to conserve resources. So if you want to lose weight, the best thing you can do is nourish your body, build blood, build yin, build qi, so that your body can let it go, so that your body feels safe to let it go because it knows that it's nourished. But I have women coming to me all the time and they're eating 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day, or they're eating really, really tiny meals. And that has no place in fertility. You need to nourish your body, not just for your fertility, for your overall health. And I just want to say to this point, if disordered eating is a part of your life or body image is a problem, seek help. Don't let that stop you. Don't let that be your deciding factor in life of whether you get pregnant or don't. Seek help. When I was trying to get pregnant with my first child, I was underweight. I had disordered eating for most of my life. I over-exercised, all of this, but I knew I had to gain weight, so I just did it. But my point is, get help if you need help, but just restricting your diet is not the answer for fertility. And lastly, number 7, the biggest fertility nutrition mistake I see women making is just not putting yourself first, right? Not really feeding yourself. Feeding yourself always comes last. I find that women will tell me they're too busy to have lunch, or they're too busy to make breakfast, or, I have women that have kids and are trying to have more kids and they don't have time to feed themselves. You really need to put yourself first. You need to put fueling your body first. You need to make it a priority. So I have 2 kids. I run my own practice. I create a podcast. I create content. I work with women in one-on-one in groups, and then so many things, right? I do so many things, but my priority is always feeding myself. I never skip breakfast. I never skip lunch. I never skip dinner, and I often eat snack, right? You need to put yourself first, and you need to put your nutrition first. And I would also urge you that if you are a person who tends to be busy throughout the day, to take a pause every couple of hours to slow down and breathe and just check in with yourself and ask yourself if you are hungry. Because what happens a lot of times, if we are rushing throughout the day, or we're really busy, or feeling overwhelmed, that masks our hunger cues. So our body's actually starving and we don't even know it. So just take a minute to check in with your body. And so those are the top fertility and nutrition mistakes that I see women make in my practice almost every day. And to close this out, just a reminder that you can't make something out of nothing. And your goal is to create literally another human being. And that takes a lot. So make sure you're fueling your body, you're eating the right foods, and you're really focusing on nutrition. Actually, lastly, before I end, I want to close this out with another point, which my mentor, Andrew Sturman, always says is your diet should be like your sweater, not too tight and not too loose. It's not about restriction. It's not about control. It's about really feeding your body with the right foods that are good for you, which doesn't mean you can never enjoy yourself. There's always a place in diet for joy. Have a sweet treat. Do something that you enjoy every once in a while, but it's really focusing on nutrition for the bulk of the time. So the 80-20 rule, or the 90-10 rule, or whatever percentage you want it to be, but always leave space in your life for joy when it comes to food, because that is really important. So again, thank you for listening. If you have questions, you can always email me, comment below, or drop them in my DMs. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you.